Good evening, it's Marie from messymcreations. Hope you managed to get out and about. I luckily am off this week. So, do say hi if you managed to catch me live, and do comment if you are watching on catch up. I am playing with fancy phrases this evening. So we have this big floral design and this smaller one, and we've got a birthday wishes, sending a little smile your way, may your day be filled with heartfelt happiness, keep it in case you need it sometime, a little something just for you, I count you twice when I count my blessings. So there's several that you can work together, or they can be used separately. So I've got some of my blends out. Pumpkin Pie, Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight. I always recommend having the colour lifter as well with blends pens, because if you do over colour you can lift the colour off. And then I've got Old Olive I've got Old Olive Light and Dark and Light Mossy Meadow for my leaves. So first thing we need to do is stamp what we are going to colour. So essentially when we're using alcohol blends, in order to stop any running of ink, we need to use a standard water-based ink. So I have Memento. If we were watercolouring we would need to use StazOn, which is an alcohol ink. So it's just using the right ink for the right situation. So I'm going to bring in one set of flowers from the top, and you could stamp this using the Old Olive or any other colour. I just decided to do it in, that's the main floral image stamped, and then I'm going to use the smaller flower just to bring in a little bit more in. Oh, on cling you can't line it back up again, so do make sure you ink and stamp correctly. That was a good demonstration on how not to do it, but not to panic. Turn your paper over and let's try and do it correctly this time. I'm actually going to change the position slightly so that I'm taking that design so that it flows round. I'm going to do the same on the top side as well, taking it along that edge slightly further. I mean, and to be fair, it doesn't have a top and bottom at the moment, so I don't know why I said top side. And it's only really the orientation of the roses that potentially mean that you can't use it that way up. But I want to use the birthday wishes sentiment that I'm going to pop in the centre there, which I think I will do. I'm going to wait, I'm not going to put colour. So I'm going to use, there's two ends to all the blends pens, so you have kind of a paintbrush type end and a bullet end. So I'm going to use the bullet end, and this is my darker colour, so I'm going to spot around the darker areas of the flower. So Stampin' Up help us give a guidance as to where your darker colour might be, but colouring is entirely your choice. So in these ones I'm feathering those lines slightly. I think I may, no, we're alright, we're So I'm just coming up on the lines, and this is my dark pumpkin pie. So I tend to go in with one colour first rather than focus on one flower, but find your preferred way that suits you. No reason why you can't take your inspiration from what you see in nature. If you are fortunate enough to have a garden, hopefully like mine at the moment, yours is coming alive. It's enjoying the warmer weather, although we've got colder weather coming back to us, so who knows. So then decide these rounder ones are buds rather than leaves. So then I'm going to go in with my light Daffodil Delight. So again, I want the bullet end. I'm just going to pull from where I've put that pumpkin pie. But what you'll see is, because I use the memento, we don't get any merging of the black, but we do get merging of the pumpkin pie and Daffodil Delight. So alcohol to alcohol reacts. Blends pens should always be stored horizontally to prevent the pens drying out with all the ink going to one nib. That's definitely something to play around with and see which end of the pen suits you. Some people tend to use the brush end, but that's the delight of Stampin' Up, giving us two ends. It's entirely your choice. So I might just add some darker. I picked up the light Daffodil Delight. I think we might need some darker Daffodil Delight. Bought the Calypso Coral because I thought it might mix in. See where that dark Daffodil Delight is darker. This design reminds me of Kath Kitson. This set is currently in the last chance sale. Has a small discount on it. There's no reason why you couldn't watercolour this as well, if that was your preferred colouring method. I personally tend to find the watercolouring doesn't merge quite so well, and I am on very vanilla card. For watercolouring I prefer to use shimmery white or base watercolour paper. Now if I then decided I wanted to lift some of that colour, if I've made it too dark, I can then go back in with my colour lifter. And again, even though we've got that black background, it's not merging in because I've used a water-based ink. So you can just lift some of that colour out if you feel it's excuse me, too dark. But then also you can add some more in. The world is your oyster. Play as you see fit between the colours. Thought I'd do something more yellowy. The sample one I had was Poppy, Parade and Flirty Flamingo, I think, from memory. Did that one a little while ago. I'm going to do some leaves. So I'm going to take my old olive dark. I'm going to pick up the darker bits of those leaves. Then Stampin' Up very kindly gave us some little indicator tips. Some of these you kind of have to decide which you think are leaves and which are buds. But trust me, whoever receives the card is not going to thin end. It's not going to critique if they think you've coloured the wrong bit in the wrong shade. It's going to be wowed by a handmade card that, to me, has a Cath Kitson. Might just pop in the centre of that flower there, a nice bold pumpkin pie. Centering those smaller ones. Can we start colouring that one? That's one end. So then you know, it's top or bottom. I think it, to me, makes more sense to have it slightly heavier on top, and I think my sentiment is going to go in pumpkin pie, which I've just re-inked. So if you have re-inked, just test it before. So stamp pads, ink pads that are used a lot, it's well worth having the re-inker, so it really just brightens the colour up again for you, so that it makes it more usable. The other thing I might just do is take the opposite corners and round them off with a trio punch. Because I can. And then in essence, it's then a case of deciding on colouring layers. I mean, we can introduce the old olive as a layer to pull the old olive through, or we could use both the colours from the roses. I quite like the one with the pumpkin pie. I think I'm going to go with that layering. Then onto a cream card base, and you can see that really pulls that colour out and that bit of pumpkin pie. I'm going to stick with the pumpkin pie and the Daffodil Delight on the other set of roses. So again, bullet end. It has been a beautiful day, so if you are watching this after you've come in from enjoying a bit of time in your outdoor space. As I say, I've been very fortunate and been off work today, so it's been lovely. I even went to an exercise class at the gym outside, which sort of a yoga based affair. So at the relaxation at the end, it was quite lovely laying in the sunshine. I've had a moment of imagining myself on a beach. Just a moment. Didn't last long. It's quite a nice thought though. Not that I'm even one that can lay on a beach. To be fair, I'm fairly bored on the sun lounger, but just having the choice would be nice. So let's colour that one in as a flower there. So again, just following the darker lines. Those are all leaves. There's a little flower there, and I stamped this off the page. You obviously could have it right in the centre and have your sentiment around the outside. But it is a lovely set with lots of options for releasing your colouring. It's quite therapeutic. Do a few leaves just to make sure I remembered what I was colouring as leaves, and some of them quite obviously leaves. But as I say, anyone that you sent a card to does not worry about all the things that you have in your head when you're creating something, and that fear that it's less than perfect. People love to receive handmade cards. On any occasion. So we go, leaves done. Let's add a little bit. I'm going to go in with the dark Daffodil Delight first. So coming from the... So if you imagine many flowers in nature, there are darker and lighter bits, kind of based on the amount of time they've had in the sun, I think, sometimes. I mean, some flowers do come through in different colours, but often even the brightest flower, once it's had a little bit of a time in the sunshine, tends to fade a little. So from that pumpkin pie, just put in the... And you can see I'm not doing it overly exactly, it's just using that bullet tip, pulling the dark Daffodil Delight from the pumpkin pie, and that will create that sort of fading look. So now I'm going to add in the light Daffodil Delight. If you were doing bigger items, you might want to use the brush tip end, but as we are on quite a small detailed one, I'm sticking to the bullet end, and then just really merging from that pumpkin pie, dark Daffodil Delight, so that you get the palest yellow around the edge. So if you're using alcohol blends, stamp your image with a water-based ink, and if you intend to use a water painting technique, stamp your image in an alcohol ink like StazOn, and then you're not risking that colour bleeding through. So I'll just add a few last little bits there, and then I'll literally then pop my layers together. So for those that weren't with me from the start, that was my error that I made. Didn't stamp one of my images properly, so never ever worry. Get the other, turn the piece of card over and carry on. So on this first layer, doesn't matter which way up it is, and the minute it's stuck down, you cannot see that on the wrong side. If someone decided they were going to deconstruct my card, they would find my error, but good luck deconstructing it with all the glue. So this is the point at which I need to know which way my card base opens. If you were with me the other day, you saw me make my back to front card. So making sure that's the right way up, my card's opening the right way, and popping that base layer on. And I think the only thing we might need, if I've got any handy, is a couple of little bits of bling on there. So I'm going to do 2 of the smaller rhinestones pops together quite close like that, and my card is complete. So hopefully you have enjoyed that, and that inspires you to get creative at home yourself, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care, bye bye.